I'm back for my weekly review / recap of The Last of Us Season 2. And before I dive into Episode 2, I'll tell you right now, there are a shit ton of spoilers ahead, so tap out now if you don't want your soul crushed. They did it. They actually did it. If you had asked me 2 weeks ago when I thought HBO would allow showrunner Craig Mazin to kill off the best character in the series, I would have told you Season 2 finale or maybe the premiere of Season 3.
Big mistake. Big. Huge.
Turns out I was wrong. I expected a slower build to the final, bloody confrontation between Joel and Abby, even though Episode 1 put all of Abby's cards on the table from the opening scenes. We'll come back to Joel's demise in a minute, but I want to talk about the rest of the episode because this was a tremendously good episode and one that made some noticeable changes from the game, including some of the things that garnered some of the biggest fan criticisms. Before we talk about those different changes, let's talk about the biggest set piece in the episode because it was a very, very good one. Episode 2 picks up the day after Episode 1 ends, and the town of Jackson is on alert because patrols discovered a horde of infected hiding under the frozen corpses of other infected. We see Tommy reminding the town, many of whom are still hungover from the New Year's Eve celebration, what the emergency plans are in the event of an infected raid. And it's refreshing to see a competent male leader in a contemporary TV show. Too many times the guys are written off as stupid or defer to the women, but Tommy is a fantastic character. He tells the town, this is the plan, this is what we do, let's get ready, let's go. That's what a leader looks like.
Jackson hold!
And when the raid does happen, oh boy, is it intense. I like Tommy and Maria as a leadership team. Not only are they competent, they are partners, they are equals, and they take their responsibility to Jackson and its people very seriously. Part of the plan requires the young and the old to shelter in place in basements, while the able-bodied townsfolk get their guns, flamethrowers, and other weaponry to keep the town safe. And the town does appear to be a well-oiled machine. When the alarm bell sounds, everyone goes to their assigned stations and prepares for battle. And it's in orange. As a quick aside, the internet tells me this guy on the roof with the gun is not showrunner Craig Mazin, who also wrote the episode, by the way. If it isn't, he has a doppelganger because it sure as hell looks a lot like him. Anyway, with the horde of infected descending on the town, Jackson is ready to fight for its survival. Oh, and by the way, Abby is still out in the bitter cold, looking for Joel. In the game, there is no such attack on Jackson. Yeah, there's a horde of infected that chase Abby, Joel, and Tommy out in the wild, but the town itself is safe and seemingly impenetrable. It's actually a major plot hole in the game that the mobs of infected chasing our trio just disappear. But we won't go into that here. What it was in the show was a sobering dose of reality to see Jackson take such a hit, and a reminder that even a place as well run and fortified as Jackson isn't immune to the horrors of that world. We even get a reappearance of the dreaded bloater, and Tommy's the one to go toe-to-toe with the monster. Some will probably argue the bloater scene is anticlimactic. After all, the bloater just gets roasted like a 4th of July hot dog and collapses. But I took a different view. As the bloater was descending on Tommy, who was backed into a corner, and his flamethrower was running out of fuel, I 100% expected Maria to show up and blast the bloater to kingdom come. She did not, and I'm very glad for that. I did not need to see some girl boss rescuing the man. As much as I love the dynamic between Tommy and Maria, it would have been unnecessary, it would have been comical. The way they played it worked much better. While Jackson is being invaded, Joel and Dina are out on patrols. This is the biggest diversion from the game. In the game, Joel and Tommy were out on a patrol, while Dina and Ellie took another one, and Jesse was out on a third patrol. But the show needed Tommy to be in Jackson, so it paired up Dina with Joel and Ellie with Jesse. It's not a terrible choice. It works in the context of the game, with a few exceptions that I'll talk about in a minute. But the fact that they set it up so that Dina and Ellie wouldn't be together, thus erasing the scene from the game where they're getting it on while they're sheltering in place from the blizzard, was very, very noticeable to me. That was one of the biggest points of fan criticism in the game, and the show has completely done away with it. As in the game, Abby also runs into the horde of the infected who give her chase. And also from the game, she runs into Joel, this time with Dina. It defies belief that she would run into the one man she's searching for out in the wilderness while being chased by a horde of infected in the middle of a blizzard. But we'll suspend disbelief for a moment and run with it. Abby convinces Joel and Dina to go back to the cabin where her friends are because of the blizzard and the horde. And when Joel and Dina see Jackson is under attack, it is Abby who keeps pushing them to go to the cabin, promising that her friends have weapons and supplies and they will come and help at Jackson. Once at the cabin, things turn very ugly very quickly. Abby reveals who she really is and what her purpose is. The group drug Dina, promising she'll just be knocked out for an hour, which sets up a possible big plot hole in the show, which we'll talk about in subsequent episodes. And then this scene shows why so many fans of the game, and I think fans of the show, are going to absolutely loathe Abby as a character. And while, despite all the time and gameplay I've had with The Last of Us, I've come down on the side of I don't like her either. The other thing I noticed in these scenes were that Abby's friends seemed a lot less enthusiastic about the plan and a lot more uncomfortable with what she was doing to Joel. That also makes things interesting in upcoming episodes in both season 2 and season 3, and we'll talk about that when we get there as well. As in the game, Ellie shows up and she gets to watch as the person she loves, the person who saved her life, the person who stuck by her the longest, even when she was not so nice to him, dies a horrible, bloody death. I knew this was coming because I played the game, but I thought the show's handling of Joel's death was much more violent, much more bloody, much more painful to watch, especially once Ellie arrives. And I think the acting in this scene between both Bella Ramsey, who you know I have issues with as Ellie, and Pedro Pascal, who I, despite his political views and his issues, is a phenomenal actor. The acting in this scene was incredible, especially when Ellie tells Joel to get up, and Joel tries. He moves his hand, he raises his head. He knows Ellie is there, and he is trying to get up and keep fighting for her because he knows she's also in danger. We all know how this plays out, and I will say to the showrunners, to Craig Mazin, who wrote this script, it took fucking balls to kill Joel off in episode 2. It really did, and for that I applaud you. The episode ends with a beautiful rendition of Through the Valley, sung by Ashley Johnson, the voice and mocap actress who played Ellie in both games. We see Jesse, a still very drugged out Dina, and a very injured Ellie on horseback as they drag Joel's body back to Jackson. Currently, episode 2 has a 9.6 rating on IMDb, one of the highest of the series. Last week's premiere had 5.3 million viewers, which was up 13% from season 1 debut, and episode 2 had 5.6 million viewers. My question is, what happens to the show now? On X, fan reaction to the show's choice was mixed. Those who played the game knew what was coming, even if we didn't know the timing. Others did not. And while some fans praised the episode, and it was a good episode, those who didn't play the game and were watching the show because of Pedro Pascal's Joel expressed dismay. Now the question becomes, as I said, will they stick around? What follows Joel's death in the game is a long tale of revenge, and it was a story fans of the first game weren't wild about in the second game. Will those who didn't play the games feel differently as we watch Ellie stab and shoot her way through Seattle, including through people like Mel, who was openly crying as Abby beat the life out of Joel? I guess we'll find out. Season 2 has 5 more episodes to go. As always, thank you for listening. Please remember to click like and subscribe, and don't forget to share this video. Coming next week, Monday at 11 a.m. Central, join me for the first Ranty Amy Curtis live stream right here on YouTube. Until then, peace out, everyone.